Welcome back to Chicago area. We are joined now, once again, by Aditya Iyengar from India. And we've got Josh Castellano and Jesse Day on board one for this round of competition. We are excited about this matchup right here.
Yeah, a little bit of Wiggles on Wiggles action. Two of the
Yes.
creators of Wiggles.io, your favorite wargaming platform. And both players doing very well in the tournament. Both are 4-1. I was just taking a look at the standings a moment ago and saw they were both pretty high up there. If I could refresh my browser, I can tell you exactly how high up there. My internet is very slow, as you might have heard, but I'll keep you posted. All right, so it looks like Josh and Jesse are 7th and 8th place, 4-1 plus 145 and 4-1 plus 95, respectively. Josh is ahead of Jesse on spread. So both guys contenders so far, and we'll see how round number 6 goes for them right now.
We have one player at 5-0, and that would be one half of the Reinke duo. That is Thomas Reinke, sitting at a pretty 5-0 plus 431.
We'll definitely get him on the stream soon.
Yeah. So Josh Castellano has got Jivey and CNT on his opening rack, and
yeah, I think you've just pointed out the pretty obvious play here.
Yeah, you seem to be implying that something by saying Jivey CNT.
Yes, seems like the one to go. Way back in the day, only one of the two forms of Jivey worked.
Oh, geez, I have no clue which one.
I believe it was Jivey with the E that worked at first, and eventually Jivey without the E was added later. Thankfully, now we don't have to worry about that. Both are acceptable variants of the word Jivey. Let's see. Thank you, Rebecca, for the welcome back. And oh, wow, I have been given a tier 1 subscription from Gerchi. Thank you very much. I am here for this.
All right, so Jivey is on the board, and that is some number of points, 34 points for Josh. I'm going to try to keep my making fun of these two guys under control, but if anybody who knows me knows, I make fun of these two guys constantly in my daily life, so it's going to be hard.
It definitely is. It's going to be a challenge not to, exactly. Especially Josh. Josh enjoys being the playful antagonist.
Honestly, these guys both do.
Yeah.
So if they get made fun of, they deserve it. All right, so Jesse did not get the desired O for non-viral or non-rival. So he's probably a very sad individual right now.
Perfect use of the swap.
Thank you. Not a lot of great options here for Jesse. He's going to be scoring somewhere between 12 and 19 points, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's got Van underneath Jivey for 19, Vinyl through the Y for 13. Not great.
Yeah, I think he's lining up Vinyl. Looks like that.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah, and I think that's best. RAN is much better than the null leave that you keep with Van.
Sounds about right. Quackle says it's pretty close, but slightly agrees with you on Vinyl. Oh, yeah, it's very, very close. So yeah, both plays are solid. You are giving up 6 points to keep ANR instead of ILNR, and 6 is a lot, but yeah, definitely a better leave.
If you all watching don't mind just confirming whether we're coming through clear on the sound, we are getting a bit of a lag on the video from our point of view on Twitch. If you don't mind letting us know if we're coming through clearly. Confirmation from viewers, sound is here just fine. I'm guessing it is our lovely internet here at the venue.
Yeah, well, our internet's working better for the input of our audio than the output of it back to us, which is a good thing. As long as you guys can hear us, that's the whole point of this. So,
yeah. So let's just scroll back up in that case. I didn't want to start answering questions and just have it not be heard. So let's have a look at the chat. Random question. Do you know if Word Cup is a Chicago or US competition, or is it open to folks from elsewhere? That is an excellent question. This is completely open as far as the ability to sign up for the tournament. In practice, it is people who are familiar with one of our, truthfully, many organizations and divisions that we have for different dictionaries. But all the same, this was open for anyone to participate. It's usually recommended that you've played in tournaments before, or at the very least familiar with some of the etiquette that is required as far as announcing your score, playing turns, how adjudications are handled. Some knowledge of that is certainly recommended before you play, but it is open to anybody. Vinyl has come down.
Yeah, both players really struggling with their racks, and I think Jaivi is a very defensive play, so that just makes it worse.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough board to get a bingo down unless you've got an S for vinyls. I mean, the V and the I are floaters out there, but they're not the best floaters in the world. Both players kind of struggling with weak racks as well.
Yeah. Simply Nemo points out this is the US scoring. In France, Y is 10 points. Yes, I'm not sure if all of you are familiar. Some hardcore Scrabble nerds are familiar with this, but there is a very rough metric that Alfred Butts used when he created the tile distribution for the English language version. Do you remember this?
I can tell you. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
He actually scanned the New York Times, different stories.
Right, yeah.
And based on the frequency of the letters showing up in different stories, he created an assortment of how many letters were to be used in this distribution and how much they were worth. So my understanding is different languages and different distributions like the French tile distribution would have done something similar and accordingly revalued some of the tiles, including the Y, because of how rare it is, truthfully, to have a Y in French.
Dits comes down, and I'm actually interested to know your thoughts. Like, what do you think about Induct leaving ZT versus Dits leaving? I'm not going to say what he's left, but yeah.
Valid.
Yeah, that's tough. I actually don't hate Lutz, even though it keeps CDNT. I think CDNT is one of those leaves that if you just draw one or two vowels, it actually becomes pretty playable, and it is a lot more points.
Marlon Hill is watching in the chat saying, what else can he play besides Lutz? There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Induct and Dits and Lutz are all candidate moves, but
yeah.
Anyway, Josh goes with Dits.
In the chat, they're saying this was an intentional troll by Josh. I think I think Josh actually had to intentionally make sure he didn't line up the the word that shall not be named.
Keeping the stream family friendly. We appreciate that, Josh.
Yes. Marlon's looking at Ouija as a nice play for Jesse Day. Yeah, I would agree. That's a pretty strong option here of all the ones. But it looks like he's going for Avion instead.
30 points. Can't argue with that. Keeps the board fairly tight.
Marlon would argue with it. He's arguing for Ouija, even though it's fewer points, just for the synergy of it.
I can see that. Not a bad option. 21 points, keeps INR. All right, so back to Josh with those two U's.
Yeah, I don't really see any options here. Nothing at all. Maybe VAU or UVA, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I like those as well. I mean, the equity plays are just terrible in obvious ways. You don't want to play Vaunts, just putting the E in the triple lane. That's not good. You don't want to play Acute and Azo because that leaves hooks for like Acuter.
The change of UU is interesting.
Yeah, Quackle suggests perhaps just trading two, just getting rid of both U's. But I wouldn't do that on this board because your bingos aren't worth very much. Like your bingo chances are not very good. Like you don't want to be too fishy. I think maybe just Vow or Uva is reasonable.
Yeah, I'll play Uva over Vow. Opens up 2 lanes for starters. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, with Uva as well, he's already got the N on his rack, so he has that to work with on the next turn. Although keeping a U and having the N there, probably not going to be any super long plays, at least for a turn. But yes, I think Uva, if I were to choose that between that and Bao, yeah, I like Uva as well. Let's see further in the chat. What else is here?
Oh my God. Quackle's suggesting one possible play is to play just the U next to the N in avion, making new for 2 points. I think if you're fishing for bingos, like you could draw unactive if you get an I, for example. But I don't think that's an actual play you would make against a human being. Wow, Quackle really is pretty strongly suggesting a fishy play, like either trading the 2 U's or playing new. Those look insane to me.
Yeah.
Simply Nemo is pointing out, what do you mean? A word starting with Y or Y? Oh, so I can see what you're saying, just because French is my third language. You're thinking in a similar sense
What a
to.
flex.
No, it's just like, it's, you know how we talk about A and like as the first entry in the English Scrabble dictionary? Like it's a valid word, you just can't play it because it has to be 2 letters. So like in the same sense, E is a very common article that is used when you're talking about location in French for lots of things. So somewhat ironically, the most often you'll ever see the letter Y in French is just when you play it on its own, or you have it on its own in a sentence, but otherwise it's very hard to use it. You cannot play just one letter on the first turn. It has to be at least 2.
That's kind of true in Spanish too, right? That the
Well,
Y
E
is
is the
much
same.
more. Oh, yeah.
Well, E in Spanish is and, but in French, it's just an article to describe location.
And I think in both cases, it's not a very common letter except for in that word.
Pretty much. Yeah. We are multilingual here in the commentating room. We got lots between all of us.
Yeah, between you and me, we know like 6 languages. I assume you know 6, because I know basically 0. My English is not too strong.
And our remote commentator adds a few as well. We've got a solid mix here.
Definitely. And yeah, orality, I think, just about. So yeah, if the A was exposed, then you would have orality. That's
Nice.
a nice one.
Yeah, I like Vow. You're keeping a T for Vought. Seems like a totally reasonable choice.
And Centaur and Vought, I'm assuming would have been a strong play for Josh before, but that's gone. Centaur and Ryu would actually still play, so that's okay as at least one option. On crate, I don't go down.
All right, so we're just updating the score now. It should be 63-60 in favor of Jesse Day, and it should be Josh on turn. All right.
Let's see, we've got, Centaur, Uncrate, and Untracer all there. Very good. Allons-y, that's right. Let's go. Rebecca points out, yes, Ryu still. Perfect. And, Mary Davis, hello. Another person from Discord, from my other gaming, who has come to say hi in the Scrabble stream. Welcome. Glad you are here, tuning in from Florida, I am assuming, unless you have been traveling. All right, so we're on Josh's time, and I'm assuming he's just looking for any potential other options. I'm not seeing anything else that jumps out immediately besides just playing Centaur. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that is the only bingo, so you got to play it. 67 and the lead for Josh.
And we see the retailer rack once again.
It's making its appearances here. No open E that would work for retailer in this case.
You'll have to retailer his rack.
Indeed. Saddest of days.
And to make some alterations.
Well, you fish off an R and have just the right other ones to play through, then yes.
You can fish away an O and an R by turning Zo into Orzo.
Nice.
There's actually 2 cool spots for an O and an R. The other one being Ureo through the U and the A in Centaur and Val. So a couple of ways to fish here. And you don't really have any choice but to fish. You don't have any really great scoring options on this rack.
Now, this is going to be a here fishy, fishy, fishy for sure. Where is that little fishy or two going to go? So Rob points out, same thing that happened to Joel. Yeah, Joel ran into 1 point tiles that he couldn't really score very well with.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. All those
Yeah.
AIORT racks just couldn't do anything. Look at Josh's rack. He needs one of those R's to play glamours. But I don't think he's going to get an R out in open space the way he wants to. I'm scanning the possible Jesse moves to see if any of them give him the R for glamours, and I don't see one. Oh, unless he plays Ront. If he plays RONT, Ront, through the N in Centaur, that would give Josh glamours.
Yes. Old MacDonald had a farm and E-I-E-I-O. Yeah, that might be happening a little bit later. Still lots of E's, not so many I's for that, but.
And now that I think about it, Ront is not too bad. Yeah, it sets up the E at the end. And yeah, I think it's not too bad.
I mean, it also opens the board a little bit. I mean, you're down by 64. You'd like to bingo soon. You don't have any great places to bingo right now. You know, Centaur was nice for Josh defensively. There's no overlapping that C. You want to give yourself more places to bingo if you're Jesse. So Ront is actually not bad. Like I'm looking at the board after Orzo and just thinking like, where are you going to bingo if you're Jesse? Your options are not great. You don't have an S for avions. I mean, it's just You don't have any of the letters to hook onto YU.
Okay, this is very interesting.
He's playing Lictor.
Wow, he's playing Lictor. That is, I don't know. Don't know what I think of that. I guess he just wants to maximize board openness. He's forking 2 spots. And I don't think he's going to get punished too badly for that. I don't see any amazing plays for Josh.
75.
Very interesting.
It's a very, very bold move. Yeah, it's kind of forked the board open in a way. So that's,
Exactly, yeah.
It worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah.
Wow. He can play retailer.
Retailer.
The revenge of the retailer. I love it.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
I think we're pretty likely to see Josh block it, but it would be hilarious if
Yeah. Well, you can still score over 80 with a 4-timer there. So that's
yeah. So I think Mungo looks like a pretty reasonable choice for Josh, and if he does that, Jesse's retailer dreams will be shattered.
Some of the other options. Seth in the chat has mentioned Mulla using the L in Lictor. I believe Mulga is an option as well.
Mulga is better than Mulla.
And someone has asked for a definition of Gollum in the stream.
Gollum, nice.
Gollum, Schmeagol.
And Scrabble Kitty crushes your hopes and dreams. Gollum is not a word. Oh, the cruel, cruel bot. So if retailer is blocked, we're going to see some boring bingo like Oriest or something.
Seth, I believe it's Malva, if I remember correctly.
Oh, he's making a Seinfeld reference.
Morva and Malva. I think that's what he must have.
Mungo has gone down. Okay. So that does block.
I'm not going to explain the Seinfeld reference because this is a family-friendly broadcast.
Okay.
All right, Mungo is a good play, and it does indeed ruin the hope of retailer for Jesse.
He's got choices.
For sure.
Choices. There's a fun little impression for those of you who are in the know.
Well, I think does Dolomite take an S? Yeah, you could do that for style points. You could play Dolomite for style points.
Yeah. But a normal word like mediator from the M is better, but but not in style, of course. Yeah, so mediator from the M would be 80 points, and Oriest as a double-double to the left of Lichter would also be 80. So take your pick.
He's going double, it looks like.
Oh,
Toadier?
that's not a word. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Wait, what?
Oh, no.
Oh no.
I mean, I said I wasn't going to make fun of Jesse this game, but if he plays Toadier, I can't help myself.
What is happening? Is that a hole?
We don't know if the blank is a D, but
hang on. It looks like there's a challenge.
yeah, it's being challenged.
Yeah. Josh knows that
okay.
word.
We don't. The blank could be anything. I mean,
I'm assuming
it could be a Q. Well, how do you assume a phony? It could be any phony.
I mean, I just think of the most likely phony to come up if there were to be one. That seems highly.
Maybe it's
likely.
a Z, Tozier.
I think there's a different spelling for that.
Wow, this is, yeah. Of course, it happens to all of us. I have to say that.
It does. It's true.
Yeah.
There are some words that, going back from a long time ago, are coded in my memory, and I had to sort of recode them as, okay, I see this word first, I know it's not the word, and then I have to see that invalid word first before I see the valid one. But once in a while, you forget what the valid one is after, and you might quickly play the invalid one by mistake. At least that's what happens to me. Yeah, there you go. Yep. So we have confirmed with our producer it was Toadier with D as in Delta was the attempted play.
Let me just quickly update that scoreboard and add 0 to Jesse's score. Okay, done.
Dang. And the funny thing is he's still going to get a nice high score next turn regardless.
Yeah, you can afford to try things you're unsure of, like Toadier, because you have 2 spots to bingo next turn. So.
Josh doesn't seem to have a lot going on here anyway, so nothing that I can see at least.
Yeah, this is a tough rack for Josh. I'm not sure what he should do with this. He needs a disconnected I and an E for Canfields.
Nice.
Or I guess they'd be connected, excuse me. He needs to have the phony word IE on the board. So your highest scoring options are through the ZO. You can play DZOS or LAZOS, Zos or Lazos. This is the kind of situation where you might burn your S just to like get rid of an extra consonant because you just have so many of those. And it just scores a lot more to play your S than not to. Your highest scoring non-S options are not very good. Like fact for 18, keeping DLNS, like you don't love that. It's tough. Both players taking their time. They've used 10 minutes already.
And for those of you who are not familiar, my namesake at board one here, Jesse Day, he is known for using his time, all of his time, and then some. Yeah, we're on the same page. There was a game that I played with Jesse Day in the last year where it was actually me who went overtime and not him. So there had to be a Jesse that went overtime in that game. It just was not him that time. But usually it is this Jesse on screen that we're seeing now that uses all of his time.
Meanwhile, back here in the streaming room, every day is Jesse Day.
Yes, it is. I am here every day for the broadcast, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm trying. So let's just see who we got here. Okay, calves and use.
24.
Nice valid word. And Jesse's going to be marking a different blank now, I would imagine.
Yep.
Wait, what did he do? Did he put something down and pick it up? Oh, he's
guessing
back
so.
in the tank thinking a little more. Oh yeah, he's erasing his blank and writing a new one. Okay.
Is there a 10 through LMC?
Oh my gosh.
An interesting sort of setup. I feel like it would be like ENCE or ANCE if it were to be a word of that length. That's just my immediate thought.
Almost luminance. Just one tile shot.
Oh,
Nice.
very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so the best plays here for Jesse are double doubles in line E next to Lichter. He's got Oriest and Notaire, and ironically, a different comparative animal of Goatier, not Toadier.
You cannot be.
It looks like he is going to find Goatier.
You cannot be comparatively abounding in toads, but you can be for goats.
Yeah, just keep comparing animals till you find one, Jesse. You'll get there. All right, Goatier does come down. 78 for Jesse, and he's back in this game.
Gertrude asks, are Jesse's letters upside down, or did he draw T upside down? That's something else about Jesse, where those of us who know him just know. The letters are on his rack randomly. They're sometimes sideways, they're sometimes upside down, they're sometimes right side up. That's just the way that he puts them on his rack. So for anyone who is neurotic that likes to have it in alphagram order and lined up perfectly, Jesse Day is not the person you want to be watching.
I see in the chat bungee mode.
Yes.
Yes. Ben Schumrun is, of course, the famous upside down, sideways, disoriented tiles guy as well.
Yes.
All right. So Josh, meanwhile, is a streamer's dream, just perfectly arranged alphabetized tiles. You love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Makes my job much easier as I'm typing in these moves to the computer.
Oh, Jesse Day has drawn the other blank.
Interesting. Probably not going to bingo next turn with the F and the P. I'm not seeing much, but
I see a very interesting 8 here.
oh, you see an interesting 8. Oh.
Yeah, I don't think it plays. Definitely doesn't play, but it's a lovely one. Yeah, it's Pontifex.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Maybe there's something else as well.
How very religious of you.
Yeah, I'm going to bow down and worship that play.
We've seen lots of Latin things come up on
Yeah.
Pontifex is, the Latinate version of pontifex or pontificate comes from the same root. Hamper Roaster points out, Jesse has actually neatened up his rack quite nicely for us. Yes, this time he's put it up in nice order. I think because he's thinking through the alphagrams on this occasion, whereas last turn maybe he was not.
Yeah. All right, so for Josh here, he does not have a bingo. He's up by 28, and he's got kind of a middling rack.
27.
You could score pretty decently here with like glance through the C in the top right corner for 30 points.
That just made me think of one of my favorite Collins Spencerian words, eglanced.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Glace also a reasonable option. Keep your N. Yeah, AD and 30 points or ADN and 27. Pretty close call. Looks like Josh is going to opt for keeping that N. That's going to add to his lead. He's now up by 55. It's 208 to 153.
Yeah.
And so Jesse only down by a bingo, and he's got a blank. So this is going to be a close game, I imagine. I don't think he's going to bingo this turn, but probably sometime fairly soon.
So I'm not saying anything longer when I look immediately at the board for options here. Aditya, what do you think among the options? I'm assuming you would be in favor of one of the shorter options, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think Fett looks okay along Gautier. That looks like a decent play. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think Feint. Feint leaves too much to chance. Yeah, I think Fett seems okay.
Yeah, you could also just play F, just keeping INPT blank. There's a lot of E's unseen. There's 43 tiles left, and 8 of them are E's. So, you keep INPT blank, you probably draw an E. Or I don't know about probably. I can't do that math, but you got a decent chance.
Meanwhile, Josh has Daikons on his rack.
Yeah.
Currently nowhere to put it, from what I can see. But if he were given a spot, that'd be nice. And
Yeah, there you go.
oh boy, he just got a spot for Daikons.
Ooh.
That's painful, or it will be.
Yep. So Fen and then Daikons and Fend or Fenk. Or no, sorry, not Fenk. Fenny.
Yeah, Fanny.
Not Fenk. I can't read my computer screen.
When we
Fenk
went,
is not a word.
when we
It's just thanks. Yeah, by the way.
Yeah.
Which I think is thanks. Maybe I'm not sure. Is it?
Wow. Fenks is the refuse of whale blubber.
oh my,
Wow.
Yeah. You
How very
know
random.
a lot. Just looking things up, huh?
so when we went to Goa to play in the Westwood Championship there, a lot of Fanny was consumed. I'm not sure if you know what that is.
I don't.
You don't?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a yes, it's made from
Cashew liquor.
It is an alcohol.
Made from coconuts. Okay. I'm not a big fan
Speaking of
of drinks.
speaking of Goa, I think Jesse did really well there. If I remember correctly, he made the final and he pushed the goat all the way till the end.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yes. Unfortunately, Nigel was goatier
Yeah.
and Jesse was toadier.
Nigel is the goatiest. Okay, yeah, Jesse's rack is looking pretty comfortably bingo prone for the next turn, but we're just waiting to see if Josh can pull out daikons on this turn. AODHQ says, hi, how long will the stream run for? Have I missed most of it? More than half of the stream for the day has been done. We start roughly at 9:30 a.m. Central Time every morning for the next several days. So that will be again tomorrow. On Wednesday, we also start at the same time, but it will be, is it 3 rounds as usual on the last day? Okay, so it'll just be 3 rounds of Scrabble play on Wednesday. So a shorter broadcast, but we start at 9:30 every day and there's, it's 7, on the previous day. So we do 7 rounds of games for the first 4 days and then 3 on the last.
Yep, 77773. All right, so looks like Dacon's comes down making which hook? Dacon's in
Feigning.
fact. Okay.
Yeah, I think Pettier looks like. What's this? Oh, lovely overlap.
Receipt.
Oh, very nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Usually I like to say I want to see receipts in an entirely different context, but here we're just happy to see receipt.
You love to see it. 6
We
overlaps.
love to see it.
So this is a game now. Josh ahead by only 14 points, 283 to 269. And Josh is on turn with a bunch of sideways letters I can't read. We were just talking about how good you were about this, Josh. Come on.
You're whining. Wine D-E. That's his rack. You're whining.
Yeah, and he should claw back into a bingo lead using the SH. He should get about 45 points there, a little more.
Yep. So Hugh is 53.
Oh yeah.
Looking
I'm a
pretty
fan of
strong.
that.
Looking very strong.
It's pretty hard to pass up 53 points.
Yeah, and
How?
Jesse.
42.
Yeah, Jesse has the tiles for Sobrike.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so actually the sim says that Josh is correct to play How, which is interesting. It is 11 fewer points, but it's a better leave, and you're covering a very important scoring spot. Oh, did Josh put it down and then pick it back up again?
He's going for Hugh for the points.
Okay.
Interesting. It
Yeah,
looks
I mean,
like
it's close, but
in the simulation, it looks like they're approximately 2% apart as far as winning percent. Both are in the 80% range. Hugh has been given about 84% chance of winning, and Howe about 86.5. So both are leading to a win for Josh in many cases.
So it looks like a fairly standard QI turn here for Jesse. He's got QI above Dacon's for 28. I mean, again, you got to think about whether you want to cover that O in Dacon's. Like, you could just play Boar and deal with the Q later, but I think you got to just play QI.
Especially with no use in the bag. Yeah, I think think that is a factor.
So we're just going to get an update on the score and the remaining tiles in just a moment here.
Yeah, sorry about that. The score should be 336 to 269. We're just trying to get that updated right now. And there are 21 tiles unseen, so 14 in the bag. Interesting pool. Mostly bingo prawn stuff, except the X is still out there and H and the W as well. So, gonna be an interesting endgame here. Definitely advantage Josh, but he has drawn somewhat awkward tiles. Would love to see an A for pin board, but that's not possible. I think more than likely we're going to see Josh play something boring like Bop or something next turn. Oh, he has Bipod.
And show is my assumption.
Yeah, SHO, which I forgot. Yeah, so if Jesse doesn't block that bottom part of the board, then Bipod is probably coming from Josh. And that's going to put it, almost out of reach to a bingo. Like Jesse's going to need a big bingo to come back.
Yeah.
All right, he picks up the QI and he does put it down above Dacon's as expected.
Good. So looking in the chat a little bit more here, some definitions. GT Man, this is close to Chicago. We are quite close by to Chicago. Let's see. John Lee Music asks, is Josh Sokol still competing in the Word Cup? He is. He's competing in the NWL division. It's a different dictionary. The easiest way to describe it, there's several nuanced differences in how the rules work, but the easiest ones to understand is that they use the North American NWL dictionary. It has fewer words, essentially, than the dictionary that we're seeing here. And they also have a slightly different challenge rule, which we refer to as double challenge. The players that we're seeing on stream are in the Collins division, and they have what's called 5-point challenge rule. Those are more or less the two major differences as far as how those separate tournaments work. We're here in the same building, but they're kind of separate tournaments. Not entirely, but kind of. The players are competing separately in different divisions. So in that sense, they are separate tournaments.
All right, so Bipod was indeed played, it looks like.
Yes, bipod has been played underneath of huge.
So that is going to make the score 375 to 297. Like I was saying, a play that strong puts this game almost out of reach to a bingo. I mean, Jesse's down by 78 now. He's going to have to make something happen and fast. Let me just quickly get those unseen tiles updated and good. Okay. So not really sure what Jesse can do here. There's 7 tiles in the bag. He's got to fish for a bingo very soon, and he's got to have a big juicy place to play it, or he can score 80 or 90 or something. I'm just not sure what that's going to look like. If anybody has any brilliant ideas, let me know in the chat. But like you can play BE above Hued, but I mean, I think you're just going to get slammed there every time. Like Josh is going to beat you to that spot. Well, I don't know. Somebody says, oh, Sidewinder says rebit maybe. Okay. Rebit. Oh, that's good. Rebit on the left side of the board into the IT and receipt. Go to your.
I like rebit. That's definitely among.
Yeah. So you score 21 and you open a really nice bingo lane into that R, into the E as well. That's a nice spot. I like it a lot. Jesse's got 6 minutes.
He's going to go down to 1.
Well, honestly, I wouldn't blame him for that.
Yeah.
I think that
on this turn, you need to be able to think about what you're doing to the board.
This is one of the hardest things to do in Scrabble is figure out your plan in a difficult pre-end game. And Jesse is, in a really pivotal spot right now. Like the choice you make now is going to really dictate the rest of the game. So this is the whole reason you save time in Scrabble is for plays like this that are hard.
Yes. Aditya, your thoughts. Rebit is near the top of my list. What other plays would you be considering right now?
Yeah, definitely. I don't see anything else. Like as Evan said, like a play like BE is just going to get countered almost every time. So yeah, rebid forces him to do something about it. Probably score, in less than 20, trying to do something there, and then Jesse bingos, and then maybe gets the X, which is unseen. That's one trajectory that could lead to Jesse making it closer. But yeah, it still looks difficult for him.
So 5 minutes now for Jesse to think this over.
Wonder if there's any sort of like fun, cheeky X setup play, even if he doesn't have it, to make things interesting.
Oh,
Just stall for a
geez.
turn. Because that would be really hard to and you can't really quantify that in Quackle necessarily. But if there's some way that he can deal with, the B or the M in some way, while also simultaneously creating what appears to be a setup of an X, that could maybe buy him some time. I mean, I still like rebid as far as a standard play with options that we can see that are clear, but I wonder if there's any creative plays that we could look for here while we're waiting for him to decide.
So one option that Quackle offers up is Ember in the top left corner, making Rego. And so that puts the E right next to that double letter score and gives you like an interesting little X hotspot. That's the kind of thing you're talking about, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, like in this case, Ilex wouldn't be available since the I's are all gone, but that'd be one potential option, doing something like that. Are there really?
I'm not sure if there's, you can't play Alex. That's not a word.
Indeed not. Neither is Olex.
Yeah, Olex. Yeah.
Ember. Oh, he plays the R that takes away. Is there still one more R besides that one? Because that would leave Grex.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there is another R. That's interesting. Grex is possible. Yeah, I mean, you're down by so much that you would really, really like to bingo for,
Yeah.
like I said, a big bingo score. You want to find a way to score 85 or 90 next turn if you can. Oh, hotel Wi-Fi. You tease us so. Come on, Twitch, reload. There you go. So 3.25 minutes left for Jesse now, at least according to our laggy clock. So Jesse's really letting he's going to play a different Ember. He's going to play Ember in the bottom left corner. Okay.
He's playing Embers, actually, and Fennies.
Oh, he's just going for the high scoring play. Okay. I guess it's more than just a high scoring play. I'm having technical difficulties. Yeah. It also puts the E in the triple and just, it's kind of a desperation prayer of a play. Like if you just miraculously draw the triple and your opponent doesn't block for some reason.
Seems to be drawing well so far. Oh, okay. Right.
So it looks like when is a pretty strong play, just killing that triple and scoring 42. Although, okay, let's get the unseen tile pool refreshed because that is very important. Okay. AELOSTX. There's one in the bag. In a pre-endgame situation like this, you really can go through the entire range of possible racks you're up against and calculate exactly how many bingos are possible. And Josh has 5 minutes, which is enough time to kind of sort of go through that process. It's going to be tough to do the entire thing. But he's got to ask himself. Actually, what's interesting about this position is that Jesse's given himself 2 identical lanes for bingos through an E. So if he does draw a bingo through an E, he's guaranteed to play it. We happen to know that he has not drawn one, unfortunately for him. But it was an interesting idea to give himself 2 identical spots so that he can't block both. I wonder what there was that he could have drawn. There probably was some stuff.
In a perfect world of V's, Josh would have hangover for a nice little triple right now.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at like what Jesse could have drawn, like from his perspective, words like halloseer and gasoline and garouse were possible. So like that was a decent try by Jesse to draw bingo in 2 spots. It's actually a really creative play that I didn't realize at first how creative it was. But yeah, he's drawn that X, which I don't think he's very happy to see.
Yeah, even something like Anna Texas would have been unseen to him.
Yeah.
That's something
Yeah.
you probably need that kind of course, any 9-timer wins, but yeah, maybe Anna Texas on the other side is also decent.
Well, I think Jesse's thinking is that, Ember scores so much that any bingo wins. Like he's only down by 38, and then he's going to bingo out for, 70 some in a lot of cases. I mean, you're just putting yourself at the mercy of the tile bag. You could draw great, you could draw terrible, you just don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure Jesse was aware that, he could get lucky and get a bingo, but he could also draw H or W or X or all sorts of bad stuff. So he was taking a chance, but, in that position, you've got to take a chance. There's no safe way to win that game. I see a mention of hangover in the chat.
Yes, I mentioned that earlier.
Very nice, very nice.
So confirming the very last item in the chat, yes, that was a reference to our wintry friend.
Also to Josh, who uses words like hangover all the time.
Yes.
Yes. Josh is currently at the table 1 when you.
That is the one he uses quite often. And then he and Tim Weiss apparently describe both an airplane and an airport as a moseying when you.
Yes, that is your favorite. Your favorite.
That's probably my all-time favorite.
Anyway, we should talk about this anyway. It's very interesting. You can tell Josh is doing a lot of writing on his score sheet right now, and I think what he's doing is going through every possible permutation of rack that Jesse could have and looking for bingos everywhere.
42.
It's not easy because there's a lot of bingo-ish stuff he could be up against. Or he has played when. And as it turns out, he's fine. Like after when, he's going to win 100% of the time, it looks like. There were no possible bingos, but it's hard to confirm that. You got to be sure. Anyway, when is a just fine play, and he has drawn the A. And so for Jesse, he's now down by 80, I believe. Let me just get that score fixed. Sorry about that. It is 417 to 337. And the unseen tiles are A, G, O, R. There we go. So Jesse's going to be deep in the tank thinking, but there is really not much to be found here. You don't have any great options.
That's to block Orage is the logic for that, I'm guessing. Crackle suggesting so SEW.
Yeah, well, so the beauty of SEW is you're blocking Orage and you're also keeping Extol into the L in the top left corner to go out for whatever number that is, 40, 48? Not that many. I can't count right now. It's late in the day. Oh, and you have 2 spots for Extol because extolled is a word into the D in Hewed.
Nice.
So Quackle, as usual, smarter than us, finding a really cool endgame sequence.
Yeah. So also blocks Agore, which is another thing.
Oh yeah, Agora and Orage. Yeah.
That's the only out. So that's another thing, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
42. $379.
So Jesse is taking his time, and then what does he end up doing? He plays Extol. Okay.
And Agore comes down.
All right. So your final score is going to be Josh Castellano 437, Jesse Day 379. Nice game from Josh.
Yeah. Good game. It's a nice change to see we don't have a blowout on board
Yeah.
one for once, just because we've had a couple of lopsided games the last few. Good to see this one was very much up in the air until close to the end here.
Yeah, it was very tactically interesting. I mean, Jesse had his chances to come back here. I mean, I thought Embers was a really, really interesting play. I mean, Jesse struggled with some tough racks late in the game, and he found creative ways to play through them. But in the end, Josh comes out on top. This is a good game. Todier aside, of course.
Yeah, a little blip. Definitely our potential. I mean, like, there's a whole bunch of what if from there. We can't say it was exactly the turning point because you don't know what that random rack would have been after, but it was certainly a noteworthy point in the game when that happened. What else could we just cover from the game here? That was Ouija versus Avion. That turn was interesting as well, like dealing with that one. Didn't end up hurting Josh, but
Yeah.
Marlon pointed out earlier in the game that Ryantley, I think, was available on the next turn based on what was drawn.
Oh, so if he had played Ouija with
yeah.
the same tiles, he would have drawn Ryantley.
I believe, yeah,
Yeah.
is what he had pointed out. What else? I'm trying to think of.
I think Lictor was an insane play. Like I still can't get myself to play anything like that. But yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it's insane in a good way. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if I would have made it either, but I credit Jesse for being creative and trying something. It was a cool spot for him to find that.
Someone is also wondering about Trems versus Fennies. Or Trem/Fennies, pardon me. So that would that have been on the turn of Embers? Yeah, so not putting the E out in the triple lane. Interesting idea, but I think putting the E out in the triple lane was very intentional for the reasons mentioned as far as giving two of the identical E spots where it's in the second last position on the board, and in one case it offers a triple versus a standard bingo score. So I think that's.
I think Trams always loses to a 3-letter play down in the bottom right. So I think, yeah, give himself a chance.
I think if you're playing something that's shorter, where you're not trying to blatantly open a triple, then Rebit would be the play that I would still go for. But Embers, I think, is definitely really up there if you're going to give up the S and play for points near the bottom.